What's up, everybody? This is WiseGuyBets here. We're going to look at the best picks for Major League Baseball, DFS, main slate on DraftKings. We're going to use Draft Dashboard as our tool to help us come up with the best picks available. Let's jump right into it. The first position we're going to look at is pitcher. The pitcher I'm looking at for the main slate is Cal Gibson. He had 25 fantasy points in his last start. The over-under in this game is 7.5. I like that. I think the scoring is going to be low. And the most important thing I like about him, he has 35 strikeouts on the season. He has a projection of the day of 17 fantasy points. I think he'll have a pretty good day, even though he's on the road against San Francisco. As I said, in his last start, he had 25 fantasy points. Let's move on to the catcher position. For the catcher, I like Austin Nola for San Diego going against Colorado. The over-under in this game is 10. Vegas expects a lot of points to be scored in this game. Another reason I like him in this game is he had 0 fantasy points in his last start. I like that. Usually, after 0, they bounce back pretty good. So let's look at his numbers against Colorado. He's had in his last 5 starts against Colorado, he has had 23, 24, and 10 fantasy points. Against this pitcher, he's 2 for 5, so he's batting .400 with 1 home run. So Mr. Nola's I got a day at pitcher. Let's look at the first base position. First base position, I like Eric Hosmer for San Diego also. I really like this over-under of 10. That's pretty large for Vegas. They expect runs to be scored, and I do too. I expect runs to be scored also. He is 6-17 against the Colorado pitcher, which is a .353 average with 1 home run. I like that. He has great success against this pitcher, so I think it will continue today. His last game, he had 13 fantasy points, and against Colorado in his last 5 games against them, he's had 5, 22, 3, and 21 fantasy points with a 0 in the last game against them. So I expect a bounce back game here. Let's look at the second base position. Second base, I thought I had actually chosen someone earlier, but I can tell you who it is. It is Mr. Jose Altuve for Houston. He has no at-bats against the pitcher hasn't been announced yet, but he has had good numbers against the Angels, scoring 10, 11, and 2 out of his 5 last outings. In his last game, he scored 17 fantasy points. So I expect that to continue today. His projection is 8.5. His salary is $5,100. I think Mr. Altuve is someone we need to get in our lineup for today. Let's move to the third base position. Third base, we got Manny Machado, someone again from that San Diego versus Colorado game with the over-under of 10. I really like that. He only has 4 home runs on the year. His projection for today is 9.4. In his last game, he had 5 fantasy points against this pitcher. He's 5 for 13, batting .385. No home runs, but he does get on base against this pitcher. And against the Angels, in his last 5, he scored 3, 17, 3, and 29, and 0. So he's had really good success against the Angels lately in the last 5 games. Let's move to the shortstop position. Shortstop, Miguel Rojas. I like him today. He's coming off a game. In his last 3 games, he's had 16, 14, and 3 fantasy points. Against this pitcher, he's batting 500. He's 1 for 2. In his last 5 games against Arizona, he has had 30, 15, 25, 17 with a 0 toxic in there. So he's had very, very good numbers against Arizona. He seems to have Arizona's number when it comes to daily fantasy. And Mr. Rojas is somebody we want to get in our lineups today. His actual projection is 10.5. You usually don't see that too much. He has a pretty high projection for today. Now we're going to move to our last position, to the outfield. And our outfield selection is Will Myers. Against this pitcher, he's batting 10. He's 10 for 26 with a 385 batting average and 1 home run. In his last game, he had 12. In his last 5 games against Colorado, he's had 8, 0, 5, 37, and 19. You see he hits Colorado pitching very well. I do not expect that to change today. This is, again, the game where the over-under is 10. So, hey, those are my projections for today of the players you should try to get into your lineup. The tool that I'm using is Draft Dashboard. Go ahead and give Draft Dashboard a try. It's a very good tool to help do some analysis. Until tomorrow, peace.